On Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, the global business and celebrity world just stopped for a moment. The news that was breaking wasn't about a Virgin Galactic launch or some huge new business deal.
No, nothing like that.
The headline was just two words, and they were stark. Personal. It just said, Branson shattered.
And it really cut through all the noise, didn't it? Sir Richard Branson himself, on his own social media, sharing that his wife and partner of 50 years, Joan Templeman, had passed away at 80.
Exactly. I mean, for a man whose life is all about these huge public stunts, this moment of just raw private grief, but shared so openly, it was jarring.
And respecting her own wishes, really no cause of death was revealed. She was famously private her entire life.
Which is really the perfect place to start.
It is. So in this deep dive, our mission is to, uncover the story of Joan Templeman, the woman who wasn't just part of the Virgin story, but was the actual anchor that let the whole empire fly.
Because we all know the brand, the balloons, the space travel. But Joan, she was the human element. We're going to get into the, frankly, absurd lengths he went to just to get her attention.
Oh, it's a great story.
Yeah, involving old signs and just relentless pursuit. And that one huge romantic gesture that cost him $180,000 when he was honestly broke.
This was never your typical celebrity marriage. It was built on this fascinating contrast, his chaos and her incredible stability.
You'll want to stay with us because the real story behind this billion-dollar relationship is it's just so much more complex than any stunt he ever dreamed up.
And the announcement itself, the language he used, it tells you everything you need to know about how critical she was.
He said he was heartbroken to share that Joan has passed away. She had just turned 80 that July.
Right. And it's what he called her that's so telling.
Yes, not just my wife. He said, my best friend, my rock, my guiding light, my world.
It's an explicit acknowledgement, isn't it? He's basically saying his ability to take all these insane risks depended entirely on her being that emotional foundation.
It's like he's this high-altitude kite, always pushing higher.
And she was the one holding the string, the immovable weight that let him soar without ever just, flying away completely.
And he desperately needed that grounding. I mean, think about his whole career. It's just nonstop gambles.
Yeah.
And then there's her. He described her as a blonde-haired, down-to-earth Scottish beauty who didn't suffer fools.
And that phrase, didn't suffer fools, that's the key.
It is.
It points to this deep, necessary pragmatism. She wasn't wowed by the fame or the money. She was focused on what was real. That's the kind of counterweight a risk-taker absolutely has to have.
What's so amazing is that he knew it the whole time. It wasn't something he only realized in hindsight.
No, not at all.
Just before she passed, he posted a photo of them with the caption, "Everyone needs a Joan in their life." I mean, after 5 decades, he was still actively saying how much he needed her as his stabilizer.
It was a conscious partnership, and it all started with one of the most unlikely pairings you could imagine.
Right. So Joan Templeman, she was born in Glasgow, humble working-class background.
And when they met in 1976, she was managing this little eclectic antique shop, or a bric-a-brac shop, really.
The Dodo Shop in Westbourne Grove, London, which is right near his Virgin Records office. But here's the thing. She was married at the time.
She was, to a musician, Ronnie Leahy, and Branson always said for him it was love at first sight.
But she was completely, totally unimpressed.
Not even a little bit. The ambitious, eccentric young entrepreneur, it did nothing for her.
Yeah, and this is where you see the real Richard Branson. Not the billionaire, but the pursuer. He had to launch a full-on, very gentle siege to win her over.
That's the perfect word for it. To even have an excuse to be near her in the shop, he started what he called his unorthodox courtship strategy.
He just started buying things.
Yeah.
Random, useless things.
Fruitless things. Old advertising signs for, Hovis bread and Woodbine cigarettes. Just junk, really.
Yeah. It's an incredible image, isn't it? The future global icon just buying old tin signs for a chance to talk to a woman who isn't interested.
He even called himself Tagalong. He literally had to chase her. It shows that she saw past the brand he was building and just saw the person. She made him work for it.
What a foundation for a 50-year relationship.
And the persistence paid off. But he couldn't just stop at buying bread signs, of course.
Of course not.
So 2 years later, this is around 1978, he spots a remote island in the British Virgin Islands.
And this is the legendary move, Necker Island. But Virgin Records was still young. They did not have a lot of cash. He had to sort of, charm his way onto the island for a viewing.
He had to pretend he was a serious buyer, fly Joan out there to show her this dream, and then, When the original $5 million valuation just collapsed, he swooped in.
For how much in the end?
$180,000, about 145,000 pounds back then.
Oh!
It was a completely impulsive, irrational act of love. By his own admission, he barely had the money. He later said, "Try telling that to a fool in love."
But what's so brilliant about it, hidden in that romantic gesture, is the strategy.
Go on.
Buying Necker Island wasn't just for Joan. It cemented his public identity as this romantic risk-taker. The island became the physical proof of the Virgin brand. Impossible dreams made real.
That's a great point. Her influence turned what was financial recklessness into a powerful romantic story. And Necker Island became the literal heart of their family. So, of course, that's where they got married in 1989.
If you appreciate us taking this deep dive into what makes these powerful partnerships really tick, please hit that subscribe button. We're always trying to find the dynamics behind the headlines.
And as we move forward, we have to talk about the pressures that really cemented their bond. Because a 50-year relationship, it's built on more than just private islands. It has to survive real trauma.
Indeed. They had 3 children together, Holly, Sam, and Claire Sarah. And very early on, they faced just the most heartbreaking loss.
Their youngest daughter, Claire Sarah, she was born 3 months premature, and she tragically died just 4 days after her birth.
I can't even imagine.
And that kind of shared trauma, it forges a bond of mutual support. Branson always talks about her being with him through the highs, the lows. The loss of a child is a low that very few relationships survive. For them, it seems to have made them even more resilient.
It just shows their partnership was tested in the most profound way possible right at the beginning, and it held. That strength became the engine for the rest of their family.
And you can see it in their children. Holly Branson is now a doctor. She's a VP at Virgin, co-founder of a charity. She carries that corporate leadership legacy.
Well, Sam is very much his dad's son, right? The adventurer. He was in a Superman movie, co-founded a production company, and chronicled this harrowing near-death experience in the Arctic.
They really do represent both sides of the legacy, the grounded professional and the boundary-pushing explorer.
But here's the part that gets me. Look at where they chose to have their biggest life moments.
The island?
The island, the one he bought for Joan. It became this spiritual family heirloom. Both Holly and Sam chose to get married on Necker Island.
Holly in 2011, Sam in 2013. It really does transform it from just a rich guy's island into a sacred family monument, all dedicated to their parents' love story.
And it all comes back to Joan's core identity, doesn't it? Her absolute commitment to privacy.
Right. Branson said she was a very private person who consciously avoided the spotlight. He said she had never given an interview.
Which is almost impossible to pull off. I mean, how difficult must it have been to maintain that quiet life while your husband is literally flying into space in 2021?
He did say she was nervous, which is probably the understatement of the century. But her stability, her privacy, that was the unlisted asset of the whole Virgin brand.
How so?
Her refusal to be a celebrity reinforced the public idea that Branson, for all his chaos, was grounded by this pragmatic, real person at home. It gave him a kind of character validation that no PR agency could ever buy.
That's a fascinating paradox. The billionaire's wife, who rejects the spotlight, and by doing so, makes her husband and his wealth seem more trustworthy, more appealing.
Exactly.
If you haven't subscribed yet and you want more of this kind of deeper analysis into the mechanics of fame, make sure you join us now.
So, to summarize Joan Templeman's impact, she was the essential counterweight, the private pillar that let a global icon soar, literally, without losing his moral and emotional center.
Her steadiness was the ballast for a man known for his chaos. And that leaves you with the ultimate question to think about. For a man whose life was defined by stunts and spectacle, Joan's greatest contribution wasn't financial. It was the fierce, steady quietness she protected in their life together.
Right.
So could Richard Branson have ever become the Richard Branson with a $3 billion net worth without the rock that guaranteed he always had a safe, stable harbor to come home to?
And the loss of that rock, well, it leaves an undeniable void right at the center of that whole structure, no matter how big the empire is.
You've been listening to This Deep Dive, where host, speaker, and expert speaker uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.